Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. All eyes are in the Kenyan Parliament ahead of the vetting of Ruto's nominees into different positions of the cabinet. And this is because when William Ruto dissolved his cabinet after Gen Z's pressure, he himself publicly, in front of a camera, admitted that the first cabinet was corrupt and was unable to deliver his agenda to the people. And when he crafted the now second cabinet, when he named the nominees, people from different quarters and experts had advised William Ruto that he messed in the first cabinet. And so he needed to redeem himself. And I remember some of his friends, like Ahmed Nasir, the city lawyer, was telling him that if at all he repeats the same mistake that led people to the streets, then we will safely conclude as Kenyans that William Ruto himself is the problem. And William Ruto decided very obstinately to to revive and return some of the cabinet secretaries that people had really rejected. Somebody like Murkomen was really rejected even in his home turf. And he also added some of Raila allies. Now, as this is happening, several people have weighed in into this debate. And one of the people who spoke is Joe Biden through his ambassador. American embassy has issued this, I don't know whether to call it an advice, an ultimatum, or a warning, but this is what the US Embassy Nairobi is saying. Meg Whitman, as Kenyans look ahead to the vetting of cabinet nominees beginning today, we recognize the importance of integrity in public service and the National Assembly's vital role in upholding Chapter 6 of Kenya's Constitution. Majorly, Chapter 6 talks about integrity, being clean as you serve the Kenyan people. Now, this warning is coming at a time when Parliament is being accused of rubber stamping what the president wants. Over the years, we've never seen an independent Parliament. It has been argued over the years that state capture has been real, especially in Ruto's regime. The EACC, those independent institutions, EACC, the DCI, ODPP, Parliament, and Judiciary, have always been captured to dance to Ruto's tune. They will always do what Ruto wants. In fact, Parliament is on record as passing the Finance Bill 2023 and the Finance Bill 2024 that led people to the streets. So all eyes are on them. When, for example, the former cabinet secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mithika Linturi, had messed, and there was a lot of complaint about the fake fertilizer that had found itself into the market. Mithika Linturi kept on chest thumping, and when his case finally got into the parliament, when someone took a motion of no confidence, they rescued him. And people voted on party lines. So this parliament has been rubber stamping what William Ruto was. In fact, the only institution that at least has tried to redeem itself is the judiciary, because the Finance Bill 2023 that took people to the street was finally dealt a blow. The High Court had said it was null and void, it was unconstitutional because the process was flouted. And then when the government went to the courts of appeal, the courts of appeal also stood with the High Court, and they maintained that the Finance Bill 2023 is unconstitutional. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming at a time when there is controversy about Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya that was nominated by ODM to join Ruto. Already there is a big clash between the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission about a case that they investigated last year, where they say that Wycliffe Oparanya, while serving as a governor of Kakamega, had received some kickbacks, and they're accusing Wycliffe Oparanya of abuse of office, conflict of interest, and you know acting in contravention of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And while they had forwarded the case to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, which had agreed to prosecute Oparanya, the ODPP is now saying that maybe the EACC was wrong, and they have said they are not proceeding with the case. And there is one vital point, that because as you see, the US is saying that we're looking at Chapter 6, and we're also looking at National Assembly's vital role in upholding Chapter 6. So, the ball is in Parliament court. They will either give the nominees a clean bill of health, or they reject it. But there is one vital area that they are also overlooking, and Ahmed Nasir weighed on this debate. And I want us to see, Ahmed Nasir is saying that we need to relook especially at the recycled members of the cabinet, like Sipan Tuya. We need to look at Alice Wahome. We need to look at Kithure Kindiki. We need to look at people like Davis Chirchir and Burkomen. And he's saying that we need to look at this very vital question, that if when they were being nominated or interviewed or being vetted for the first time, someone had said that I am worth 7 million Kenya shillings. And then less than 2 years into office, or 2 years down the line, they are being vetted again, and they will be asked, how much are you worth? And they will say that from 7 million, I am now worth 20 million. Ahmed Nasir is saying that we need to look at the difference between the money accumulated, or the wealth accumulated, and the time and the salary. And let us go directly to what Ahmed Nasir is saying. Ahmed is saying this: Chair of the CSS Vetting Committee, Honorable Moses Wetangula, and his committee members like Honorable Jeanette Mohammed aren't asking one vital question to the CSS who were reappointed a second time by President Ruto. All had previously declared their net worth in 2022. For example, X was worth 250 million and is Y years old. He or she worked and was in gainful employment for 25 to 35 years, and declared her or that she was worth in 2022 as being 250 million. 18 months later, she or he declares a net gain of 100 million and stated she or he is now worth 350 million. The question the vetting committee isn't asking is in 25 years of your prime life, you made 250 million. How did you make 100 million in 18 months when you were on salary of 2 million per month and was not engaged in any other business? And in fact, for the very first time, I think I want to agree more with Grand Mula, because what he's saying is making sense. I'm being vetted in 2022, and in 2022 I'm saying that I'm worth 10 million Kenya shillings, and that maybe at 40 or 50, for the very years I worked, maybe for 20 years in a private capacity or in public offices, I accumulated 10 million worth of wealth. Then for only 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, I have gained about 5 million or another 20 million. Then the question should be, in your entire life, when we were first interviewing you, you were worth 10 million. How comes within only 2 years, you have accumulated almost 3/4 or half of the money? And I think this is very serious. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this question is coming in handy, If you look at, for example, Soipan Tuya, it has been recorded that Defense CS nominee Soipan Tuya's net worth rises to 243 million from 156 million in 2022. And she attributed this increase to appreciation of assets, businesses, and the value of newly acquired asset in Nairobi. And those are the questions that Grandmola is saying we really need to ask these CSS. How they managed to accumulate this within the period of time when they were earning about 1 million or 2 or something. But ladies and gentlemen, why do you think US is weighing on this debate? Because it's coming at a time when we are told, we understand that there was a time when Catherine, the leader of the business, when Catherine Time, who led a business team that came to Kenya to discuss a number of things about how we could partner together, refused to meet Moses Kuria. And Moses Kuria was the trades minister. And they refused to meet him. In fact, it was very humiliating that they were meeting uh, other ministers of trade from East Africa, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda. They came and converged in Kenya. But the host, Moses Kuria, was denied access to Catherine Tai. And even when William Ruto was traveling to the US for trade deals and he was claiming that he was signing some trade deals, Moses Kuria was left behind. And so when US gives a warning, it might be serious because if William Ruto will procure a cabinet that will not resonate well with the US, who you know very well is there his boss, it is going to be very difficult because sometimes even when you go around and you want to negotiate for trade deals, they will not his hands will be tired. And so William Ruto must be very careful about this warning, even though people don't want to hear US talking and warning William Ruto because this is their child. This is their child. From the maternity ward, we were either to be given Raila or Ruto. They gave us Ruto, but now Ruto and Raila is the same thing. Now also we can also not forget, or it's not lost in us, that both US and World Bank have warned William Ruto when Gen Zs hated the political temperatures. And I remember the IMF was telling William Ruto that you are wasteful. And when there was a lot of pressure on them, people wanted to visit the embassy and the IMF. They said, your president is wasteful. Stop asking us why things are happening this way. Ask your president. And US wants to make sure that they're also counted as people who gave their views because they understand what is happening in Kenya. So they want to give the US wants to give its view on this so that they are counted. They know that there's bad blood between the Gen Zs and the US embassy. They're trying to amend this first because when the country is chaotic, there are a lot of things that are not happening. There are some of their interests are not being championed. And in this manner, when the youths are bitter, they know that the youth could soon start talking about LGBTQ and GMO, and this will mean it will spell doom to them because if the youths go to the street and they start talking about LGBTQ and all this, there is no way US will come and compel this on us because they saw how difficult it was for Ruto to control them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to agree fully that we need a cabinet that is clean. We need to ask them about their wealth, especially those who are being recycled. And Parliament must rise up because you saw how Gen Z visited. No, Gen Z visited most of the MPs who voted yes for the Finance Bill 2024. And so, William Ruto thinks that by taking some of Raila's members into the cabinet, he's safe. He's not safe. And maybe we are just postponing, something that we could have dealt with. When there is anger in the country, we don't need to form a government of national unity so fast like that. Yes, even as we form the government of national unity, as Ruto calls it, we need to get to the bottom of the real issues that we are talking about. Otherwise, we are sitting on a time bomb and it will soon explode. And then when it explodes, it will be too late. Because the Gen Zs have tasted the bullet, the tear gas, persecution, they have been kidnapped and hijacked and everything. So when they decide to finally get to the street, they will be going there knowing very well their fate and the consequences, that it might not be good at all. I don't know what to think, but the ultimatum this time around, we welcome the ultimatum that the US is giving. However, we do not need to depend on external forces to compel us to do the right thing. We need to do the right thing naturally. And this new colonialism must stop, where these people will procure a president for us and they still want to force him to do things. Let us have our own president whom we can control.